Good afternoon, and welcome back to a special episode of Best in the Biz podcast. I'm joined here with
Charlie White, Western Vice Chief of Qalipu First Nations.
All right, Charlie. Thanks for coming by. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much, Josh.
Yes, thanks for coming onto the podcast. Thanks for being present here at the Qalipu Business Forum. Before we started, maybe you can just tell some of the listeners on the podcast, kind of what you do with Qalipu and your role as a vice chief.
Well, the role of Vice Chief basically is to support the chief any which way we can, right? And we sit on council. We have 6 council meetings annually. Mm-hmm. We also have special council meetings and whatnot, dealing with all the hot topics of current time.
Of
course.
Know what I mean? No, there's a bunch.
So, it's all encompassing, basically.
Cool. So, Charlie, how are you finding things here today? What have been some things at the business forum that you've enjoyed in terms of presentations? What do you think of it all?
I think it's really good. Of course, one of the roles and responsibilities of any First Nations chief or vice chief is to protect our resources.
Of course,
we want a business plan. We want business partners. We want something that's good and sustainable, but at the same time, we got to make sure we're doing things in a good way that will protect our environment for future generations, right? Because every time we do something, we think about the next 7 generations.
Of course,
right?
I couldn't agree more. My grandmother was big on, not taking anything more than you need and using everything when it comes to certain things like food and just making the most of what you can, and you could apply that principle to anything in life.
100%, right? So if you do things in a good way, you protect the natural environment, but there's also a need to strengthen the nation. And to do that, we need business partners. We don't want to be relying on Canada for handouts. We want to be a self-sustained, money-making band. Right?
Of course. Yes, self-sustainability, especially Newfoundland, is always a challenge for many businesses, let alone First Nations organizations and so on. What have been some socioeconomic challenges that you have faced with in that capacity?
Well, like I said, right now we are witnessing some very changing climates within Newfoundland. We're the last 3 years very dry.
Yes,
we are losing a lot of water. I did a video on it on my YouTube channel. I don't know.
You can maybe direct the folks from this podcast to that YouTube channel or that video. What's it called?
I can't remember. From a lake to a desert, I believe it's called. Okay. And it's showing the amount of water that we've lost in the big lakes of Newfoundland. Right?
Yeah, it's the lowest I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I only speak for 33 years, but it's quite low.
So my channel is NL Ghost Wolf, Newfoundland and Labrador Ghost Wolf. And I do everything outdoors, basically. Hunting, fishing, trapping, hiking, kayaking.
What's your favorite? If you could pick one.
I really enjoy the hiking.
Yeah. Well, there's so much to see here in the West Coast. I mean, of course.
And hiking into the hills. I have one mountain left to climb in the area. I've been on all the rest. So my last mountain to climb is a mountain that we call Jeanette.
Okay.
The old folks years ago used to call it Hare Hill because it was the closest spot you could come from the Stephenville area to get the Arctic hare. And what is now called is Crash Hill.
That's called, so you say that again?
Crash Hill.
Crash Hill. Okay, where's that located to?
Crash Hill is just north of Gull Pond area.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It's where there was an American plane crashed there back in maybe 45.
Okay,
45 or 46. And my grandfather was he was the head guide for the ground search and rescue team. So he led the team up there to the crash site, and they spent, I think, 2 days, 3 days up there on the site. And the first thing that they ate was a turnip, raw turnip out of a field.
Must have been tough.
Yeah, out of a farmer's field there in Knowles Pond when they were walking out.
Oh wow!
He saw some turnips, so he plucked a couple out of the ground, peeled them, and they started eating it right there because they were without food for.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and it's a hard spot. So that's the last mountain I have to climb, and I want to climb it when I turn 60. So I'll turn 60 in just over 2 years.
Okay.
2 years and 4 months. So,
well, good luck with that venture. I'm sure it'll be quite a journey and breathtaking views to take in as well.
Yeah. So, like I said, we got a lot of challenges to try and balance preserving our land with getting a good industry in here that could be sustainable, of course, and not have a huge impact on the environment. You know, you take something as simple as AI, like if you Google something now, it comes up with, I think you get an AI overview.
You can, which is, I think it's great to know where your contact's coming from, in terms of contact.
Exactly. So every time you use AI, you're using water, right? And for anywhere between 10 and 50 requests on ChatGPT, you can be using up to 500 milliliters of water.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So
that's wild to think about.
You know, we're entering a time where water's becoming very sacred. Right? It's always been sacred.
Yes.
But now we're like, oh, wait a second now. We're in hard times. Yes. And we're entering hard times. The climate is changing. Our amount of rainfall annually is changing. November months will really come in hard with the rain and stuff. Mm-hmm. But all summer long, we have a lack of water, a lack of rain. Yes. And so, you know, if you're not using AI, you're a dinosaur.
You kind of get left behind, right? Trying to keep up the technology and it's keeping up with the times.
On the other side of that sword, if you are using it, you're part of the problem, right? So it's a hard thing
to meticulous balance. Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly. So it's trying to massage the best of both worlds, and things are changing so quickly. So let me rephrase that. Things are changing so rapidly that we don't have time to make good, educated analysis. We need studies done. We need to figure out, you know,
like last year would have been great,
right?
To get this started, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice on how to be more sustainable as an individual, not just necessarily an indigenous person, but like what can, like someone like myself or any of the listeners that might be tuned in to this podcast, how can they take some advice on being more sustainable and protecting the environment? I mean, I know it's a very important topic for those that are indigenous to protect the land, but what could you say about that?
Well, you know, years ago, we always grew up in the mindset, take only what you need.
Of course. Yeah, I agree. Right? Agree more.
And leave nothing but footprints. Mm-hmm. And over the years, it seems like people are becoming disconnected.
Yes.
It's like we've forgotten the blueprint on how to live in harmony with the land, right?
And maybe if I could even chime in, like going back to my grandmother, who was an indigenous, she always mentioned, you know, leave something better than you found it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so important.
Yeah. So, you know, unfortunately right now, sometimes, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if industry sees, we got 30 years to harvest as much as what we can. Let's go in and, you know, make the best next 30 years type thing. But we really got to be looking beyond that, right?
For future generations.
We got to be looking for the future. Exactly. And I can tell you, I'm only 57 years old currently. And the changes I've seen in the last 50 years It's scary, really. Everything's changing.
Yeah.
And so we got to adapt. And you know what? It's not that everything is just starting to change.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since the planet came into existence, it has been changing.
Yeah, it's inevitable, really. At the end of the day, there's always going to be change, but sometimes it's change for the better and change for the worse. And I guess, like what you're saying, is unless we reduce our footprint, that can be a change for the worse. And we really hope to not see it go that way when we have such a beautiful province, so many resources here. It's a good thing that you mentioned to be protective of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So, Charlie, we're kind of wrapping up the day here. I understand you've been a part of the business forum here. What was one highlight from your day and being here and being involved that you can take away from this?
Well, it's a good opportunity for anybody in business, whether it's big business or small business, to get to these events and to network.
I agree. Yep.
Because one thing I learned in my military career is the higher up in rank you go, the more stronger your networking has got to be. You don't have to be the guy with the answers or the person with the answers.
You got to know the guy with the answers.
You just got to know how to get in contact with the people who have the answers. So if you have a business, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have any ideas, this would be the place to come and get those connections, get that networking. It's a really amazing forum. We had a tour of this facility. It's 6 years old now. I think they still call it the new building.
Yeah, this for the listeners that don't know where we're to, we're at the Center for Heavy Equipment and Transportation Technology in Stephenville.
And they given us a tour of the entire facility, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very, very. It's years ago, and I did mineral technology. Well, I only did part of a mineral technology course, and then I went off into the military. So that's going back into the 80s. So it was a while ago. But this is an absolute incredible facility and state of the art.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much available here. Like, this place has potential.
I agree. I was really, really grateful to have the opportunity for the youth here to learn at home and to keep students in Newfoundland so they can learn these transferable skills in the workplace, and whether that's business or technology or transportation. This campus seems to have it all. It's really nice.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I'm not really sure what my most enjoyable part of the day was, but I think it's highly important if you are, and it makes no difference if you're new into business or if you own the business, you can always use networking and build new. The bigger your web is, the more resources you got to pool from.
Exactly. Well, that was Charlie White with the Qalipu First Nations. He is the vice chief here. And thank you so much for coming on today. And we appreciate your time.
It was my pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm joined here today with Jeffrey Young from the Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation. How you doing?
Great. And yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for coming on the short notice and just dropping by. Might be a good chance to tell our listeners about kind of like, who you are, what you do in the community for those that aren't acquainted, and any initiatives that you may be involved in right now.
Yeah. So I'm actually the president and CEO of the Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation. We're based here in Stephenville. We're a provincial organization that preserves and promotes the Mi'kmaq culture throughout the province. We've been incorporated now it's been 11 years. And within the last 5-6 years, we've really grown as an organization to do a lot of our own initiatives. And most recently, we've acquired a property here in Stephenville to act as a social enterprise.
Oh, wonderful! And what's involved with that property?
Yeah, so it's been a long process. So we purchased a property a few months back, which will be a registered childcare center in one side, and in the other part of the property, it will be a community space, community hub, space for entrepreneurs, and it'll have our offices as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm sure it's much needed in the community. I know there is often a hard time with daycares and finding those resources in the community. What were some challenges that you faced upon acquiring the property, and the challenges associated with getting something like that off the ground?
So like I said, it's been also almost a year now since we've been, starting the process of purchasing the property. So that was the biggest challenge, was getting acquiring the property as a charity organization. And what we had to do, we had to get funding and have have your down payment to get the mortgage. But as a charity, that's very difficult to acquire funding or bank funding. And being in such a small area of the province, there's not as much lenders out there that's willing to lend outside of the metro area, outside of St. John's. So that was a challenge we had. Thankfully, we were eligible for a grant that acted as our down payment. And we were able to secure financing through a credit union, thankfully, to acquire the property. It was a long process. And other organizations throughout the province assisted, like the Community Sector Council, throughout the process of helping us getting our appraisals on the property, our legal fees paid. And we also had another funder that's a national organization, that's Go Parity. And they do they take investments from investors and put it towards your project. So thankfully, we were able to gain some capital from that as well, which enabled us to have the cash to purchase the property. And now we are, after, like I said, almost a year to get that done, and the experience we've gained and the knowledge and the resources that we went through over the last year to be able to get to that is, like I tell some people, I could write a book about it, because there's so much people could just not even follow or go to, and so many loopholes that you got to go through to get to that process, being a nonprofit or a charity. So, for social enterprise, it's really, it's becoming more common now into the province and across the world. And for people to be able to take that, and most times you see nonprofit organizations, but it's difficult because many of our organizations are project-based off government funding, grants, and we don't, at the end of the year, we don't have a surplus. If we got a surplus, most times I got to go back to government because it's money that we didn't spend, or in today's economy into the world, we're not getting as much donations or sponsorships like we once did. So that's it's very low. So we don't have that amount to put back into our programming. So we're more dependent on government funding, which we're hoping, once the social enterprise is up and running, will be less dependent and more sustainable.
No, that's definitely important, and such a tremendous initiative to have involved in a community such as Stephenville and the area out here. Jeff, just wondering if you have any advice for those that might be looking to start something like this, or any aspiring entrepreneurs. What would you tell those folks?
I told many people this before. Never take no for an answer. There's and don't take, if you get one no, two no's from, if it's from the bank, it's from an advisor, keep going. We've went to almost, I would say, probably 4 or 5 of the top banks. So, like I said, don't take no, right? Don't accept no, or this is not going to work, or perhaps your business plan is not, maybe it needs to be retweaked. There's resources out there. There's lots of funding for consultants to be able to advise other provincial community organizations, such as the Community Sector Council, that could provide you the advice or the funding to be able to go and get those resources.
That's some awesome advice, and I'm sure there are many folks that could take advantage of some of those tips that you were willing to share. Just wondering, with the Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation, what other projects do you currently have ongoing right now in the community, and where can those folks find out, and where can our listeners find out more about how to get in touch or how to get involved?
Yeah, so we, with the foundation, we're now that the social enterprise is, just where a lot of our our time was focusing on getting debt, acquiring the property and such. So everything was kind of put on hold. Usually we have an annual gala. This year we're going to take a different route on that. So we're going to have another type of fundraiser coming soon. Although we do host events and workshops to be able to preserve and promote the Mi'kmaq culture throughout the province. I'm hoping now over the winter months that, people are less busy, more in the house more. We're going to have more virtual workshops, some in-person workshops. Hopefully we could, reach across the province. But you could follow us we're on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or on our website. And we also have a newsletter that people could sign up to from our website.
Oh, that's fantastic. And sounds like you have a very diverse and great platform for those that want to get in touch. Just curious, so do you have to be Indigenous to be involved with something like the Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation?
So we put Mi'kmaq people first. We give them the first opportunity for workshops or training or whatever, we may host. Although if space allows, or if it's a conference or a speaking opportunity, or if they want to observe, or, if it's a workshop and there is space available for non-Indigenous or other Indigenous groups besides the Mi'kmaq, absolutely. I tell a lot of people, that is the way forward. That's how non-Indigenous people is going to learn about Indigenous people and their cultures, is through participating and becoming allies.
So Jeff, I understand you're here at the Qalipu Business Forum today. Just wondering, what were some things that you have enjoyed from being here today, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so I was just into the Tech NL presentation. Great information. Love their vision of where tech is going to go in the next by 2050, and their goal is to make that the biggest sector in the province by 2050. It's great to see how much how it's growing already, very quick, and I'm hoping that we'll see more of that in the province, especially with the youth, and perhaps introducing that more in youth programming, showing them the job opportunities that's out there.
All right, well, thank you so much. This is Jeffrey Young from the Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
To wrap up, here are some top takeaways. Qalipu Western Vice Chief Charlie White emphasized the essential responsibility of protecting land and resources for the next 7 generations. While business growth and strong partnerships are vital, they must always be balanced with environmental stewardship and by doing things in a good way. He also shared practical guidance for individuals, such as take only what you need, leave nothing but footprints, and reconnect with traditional teachings that focus on living in harmony with the environment. Jeffrey later showed what entrepreneurship with purpose looks like. The Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation recently secured a property in Stephenville to build a multi-use social enterprise, complete with a registered childcare center, a community space, and more. Securing financing was the biggest hurdle. His key advice is to never take no for an answer and to lean on community partners to move projects forward.